Humanities Art, Part 10, Walt Disney. Walter alias Disney was an American entrepreneur, animator, voice actor, and film producer, a pioneer of the American animation industry. He introduced several developments in the production of cartoons. As a film producer, Disney holds the record for most Academy Awards earned by an individual, having won 22 Oscars from 59 nominations. He was presented with 2 Golden Globe Special Achievement Awards and an Emmy Award, among other honors. Several of his films are included in the National Film Registry by the Library of Congress. Walt Disney was born on December 5, 1901, at 1249 Tripp Avenue in Chicago's Hermosa neighborhood. He was the 4th son of Elias Disney, born in the province of Canada to Irish parents, and Flora, an American of German and English descent. Aside from Disney, Elias and Flora's sons were Herbert, Raymond, and Roy. The couple had a 5th child, Ruth, in December 1903. Disney developed interest in drawing. He subscribed to Appeal to Reason newspaper and practiced by copying the front page cartoons of Ryan Walker. Disney developed an ability to work with watercolors and crayons. In 1911, the Disneys moved to Kansas City, Missouri, where Disney attended Benton Grammar School. There he met fellow student Walter Pfeiffer, who came from a family of theater fans. They introduced Disney to the world of vaudeville and motion pictures. Disney and his brother Roy woke up at 4:30 every morning to deliver the times before school and repeated the round for the Evening Star after school. The schedule was exhausting, and Disney often received poor grades after falling asleep in class, but continued his paper route for more than 6 years. He attended Saturday courses at the Kansas City Art Institute and also took a correspondence course in cartooning. In 1917, Disney enrolled at McKinley High School and became the cartoonist of the school newspaper, drawing patriotic pictures about World War I. He took night courses at the Chicago Academy of Fine Arts. Disney tried to enlist in the United States Army, but he was rejected for being too young, although he forged the date of his birth on his birth certificate and joined the Red Cross. In September 1918, as an ambulance driver, he drew cartoons on the side of his ambulance for decoration and had some of his work published in the Army newspaper Stars and Stripes. In 1920, Disney became interested in animation, although he preferred drawn cartoons such as Mutt and Jeff and Coco the Clown. He came to the conclusion that cell animation was more promising than the cut-out method. Disney opened a new business with co-worker from the film ad co, Fred Harmon. Their main client was the local Newman Theater, and the short cartoons they were produced were sold as Newman's Laugh-O-Grams. Disney studied Paul Terry's Aesop's Fables as a model, and the first 6 Laugh-O-Grams were modernized fairy tales. In May 1921, Laugh-O-Grams established into Laugh-O-Gram Studios, where artists were hired, such as Fred Harmon's brother Hugh, Rudolph Ising, and Iwerks. The Laugh-O-Grams did not provide enough income for the company, so Disney started production on Alice's Wonderland, based on Alice's adventures in Wonderland, which combined live action with animation. The film was completed too late to save Laugh-O-Gram Studio. In 1923, it went into bankruptcy. Disney moved to Hollywood in July 1923. He was attracted to Los Angeles because his brother Roy was convalescing from tuberculosis, and he hoped to become a live-action film director. Disney's efforts to sell Alice's Adventures were in vain until he heard New York film distributor Margaret J. Winkler. She was losing the rights to both Out of Inkwell and Felix the Cat cartoons and needed a new series. In October, they signed a contract for 6 episodes each in Alice Comedies, with an option for 2 further series of 6 episodes. Disney and Roy formed Disney Brothers Studios, later to become known as the Walt Disney Company. In early 1925, Disney hired an ink artist, Lillian Balmes. They married in July of that year at her brother's house in her hometown of Lewiston, Idaho. Their marriage produced 2 daughters, Diane, born December 1933, and Sharon, adopted in December 1936, born 6 weeks previously. Disney nor his wife hid the fact that Sharon was adopted, but they became annoyed if people raised the point. Disney was careful to keep their daughters out of the public eye as much as possible. Disney took steps to ensure his daughters were not photographed by the press. By 1926, Winkler's role in the distributions of the Alice series had been handed to husband film producer Charles Mintz. The relationship between Mintz and Disney was sometimes strained. The series ran until July 1927. Disney had gotten tired of it and wanted to do more all animations instead of live action and animation. Mintz requested new material to distribute through Universal Pictures. Disney and Iwerks created Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, a character Disney wanted peppy, alert, saucy, and venturesome, keeping him also neat and trim. In February 1928, Disney negotiated a larger fee for producing Oswald series, but found Mintz wanting to reduce the payments. Mintz also persuaded many artists to work directly for him, including Harmon Ising, Carmen Maxwell, and Fritz Freleng. Disney also found Universal owned the intellectual property rights to Oswald. Mintz threatened to start his own studio and produce the series himself if Disney refused to accept the reductions. Disney declined Mintz's ultimatum and lost most of his animation staff, except Iwerks, who chose to remain with him. To replace Oswald, Disney and Iwerks developed Mickey Mouse, possibly inspired by a pet mouse that Disney had adopted while working in his Laugh-O-Gram studio. Disney's original name was Mortimer Mouse, but Lillian thought it too pompous and suggested Mickey instead. Disney would also provide his voice until 1947. Mickey Mouse first appeared in May 1928 as a single test screening of the short Plain Crazy, but it and the second feature, The Gallopin' Gaucho, failed to find a distributor. Following the 1927 sensation The Jazz Singer, Disney used synchronized sound on the third short, Steamboat Willie, to create the first post-produced sound cartoon. After animation completed, Disney signed a contract with former executive of Universal Pictures, Pat Powers, to use the Powers Sinophone recording system. Sinophone became the new distributor for Disney's early sound cartoons, which soon became popular. To create improved quality music, Carl Stalling was hired to compose, which provided stories through the use of music. The first Silly Symphony was The Skeleton Dance, 1929. Both Mickey Mouse and Silly Symphony series was successful, but the Disney brothers did not feel they were receiving their rightful share of profits from Powers. In 1930, Disney tried to trim costs, but Powers refused for an increase when Disney tried to save work by abandoning the practice of animation in every separate cell in favor of the more efficient technique of drawing key poses and letting lower-paid assistants sketch the in-between poses. Powers refused and signed Iwerks to work for him. Stalin resigned shortly afterwards, thinking that without Eworks, the Disney studio would close. Disney had a nervous breakdown in October 1931, which he blamed Powers and his own overwork. So he and Lillian took an extended holiday to Cuba and cruised to Panama to recover. With the loss of Powers as distributor, Disney Studios signed a contract with Columbia Pictures to distribute the Mickey Mouse cartoons, which became increasingly popular. Disney, embracing new technology, did in full-color 3-strip Technicolor filmed Flowers and Trees, which won the Academy Award for Best Short Subject Cartoon at the 1932 ceremony. Another nomination for a film, Mickey's Orphans, received an honorary award for the creation of Mickey Mouse. In 1933, Disney produced The Three Little Pigs. The film won Disney another Academy Award in a short subject cartoon category. The film's success led to an increase in the company, and 200 artists had been hired and working by the end of the year. Disney realized the importance of telling emotionally gripping stories that would interest the audience. He invested in a story department separate from animators, with storyboard artists who would detail the plots of Disney's films. Disney's first film was Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. It earned $6.5 million, which made it the most successful sound film made to that date. Then came the films Pinocchio in early 1938 and Fantasia November that same year. In 1941, Dumbo was released, receiving positive reaction from audiences and critics alike. Next came Bambi in April 1942. In 1950, Disney produced Cinderella. In 1951, Alice in Wonderland, and Peter Pan in 1953. In July 1954, after having a dream of making a fairy tale theme park, in July 1954, Anaheim, Orange County, opened Disneyland. The park designed as themed lands all linked together by the central Main Street, USA. Adventureland, Frontierland, Fantasyland, and Tomorrowland. It reached 70 million viewers. In 1964, Disney produced Mary Poppins, based on the book series by P.L. Travers. In 1966, Disney developed The Jungle Book, Sleeping Beauty, The 101 Dalmatians, The Sword and the Stone, The Aristocats, The Fox and the Hound, Lady and the Tramp. Disney had been a heavy smoker since World War I. He used smoke pipes as a young man. In November 1966, he was diagnosed with lung cancer and was taken to Joseph Hospital on December 15th. 10 days after his 65th birthday, he died of circulatory collapse caused by lung cancer. Walt Disney left behind a legacy to remember. And it was his dream of creating a fairy tale world that we can love, we can share, and we can bring happiness towards. A place we can call our own, bring our families, our friends, and laugh together in happiness, the happiest place in the world, Disneyland. Not only that, but he has touched the hearts of millions all over the world with his classic films. And these films inspired artists and talents to create other films such as Beauty and the Beast, The Little Mermaid, Aladdin, Hercules, and The Princess and the Frog, and so many others. Walt Disney is an inspiration to any person out there trying to be an inventor, trying to be a creator, or trying to be their own creations. He set the bar to make your dreams come true, and that is why Walt Disney is part of Humanities Art.